Hitting a white ball around a golf course and chasing it, boring. Playing against the guy next to you and having $10 on the game is a whole difference maker. Mm-hmm. There's some energy created in the goal that you've just have for the day, which is a meaningless thing because you're going to go in and enjoy their company, but it's just that energy that, I'm attracted to.
Mm-hmm. It's quite a mental game, obviously, but it's also a relational game.
Yes. We haven't talked about the mental game and energy, but that's a piece of it too, where you actually either visualize or make a commitment that you're going to overcome. Mm-hmm. No matter what, is put in front of you. You cannot outwork me. Mm-hmm. You cannot figure out something that I'm not going to adapt to. I'm going to show up in the end.
Yeah, figure it out.
Figure it out.
So I've got Larry Lloyd with me. His current capacity, I would say, is really mentor, leader. He's an investor in our Keller Williams Energy real estate office, and he co-founded the Kayland Group. And he is a person of influence, and he's constantly pouring into others. So we're going to take a look back. I did some research on Larry's past because I know that he's been an exceptional athlete his whole life. He has a decorated lacrosse career. He won 4 Minto Cups in Junior A, got 380 points in 91 games, another 355 points, and over 100 senior games with the Brooklyn Redmen and Windsor Warlocks. He completed professionally with the Philadelphia Wings, got 352 points in 96 games, and he earned a first-team All-Star in 1974 and a second-team All-Star in 1975 honors. And he was honored in the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame and the Oshawa Sports Hall of Fame in 2015 and then 2023. That's pretty incredible. And I had a C flare with all those statistics there, trying to just really highlight how amazing that is. I mean, just such an accomplishment. And then you also worked as a teacher and youth coach in the Durham region following your pro lacrosse career. And then switched to real estate after teaching and quickly became number 1 in your office in the Durham region within 2.5 years. And you used a very disciplined, intentional approach of I show up with intention. You're very on purpose. So those are just a few notable details of a pretty unbelievable career, both on the field, off the field, and mentoring and coaching youth. And then co-founded the Kayland Group, which still exists today. And also we're a part of launching this office that we're sitting in. So what did I not mention, Larry?
I think the only thing you didn't mention that I'm pretty proud of is while I was in the teaching career, I started a sports camp for kids called High Five Sports Camp. And we used to run summer camps for kids in various sports, most, basketball and volleyball and golf. And some of the experiences we had in that with the kids we had is phenomenal. And all those numbers are just numbers. Mm-hmm. And I think when I look back on hearing you talk, I think about, I was thinking about, what I really enjoyed and, teaching kids in school and watching them grow and develop. No numbers there.
No.
Having a sports camp and having kids just have a blast and enjoy a sport. No numbers there. And, it was in that realm that I think that, is my most success. Mm-hmm. No numbers. And you're acclaimed at some level when you reach the Sports Hall of Fame. It's kind of a validation from your peers mm-hmm. that, you excelled at a point in your life. But it's a validation.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure I changed many lives in that period. it's, but doing that and knowing who you are is the opportunity to meet people. And meeting people gives you the opportunity to inspire people. And, that's where I feel I had my greatest honors is, meeting people and growing with them and creating a bond with them. And those bonds are unbreakable. And I think that's what I like the most.
Okay. I know that about you. And I think you're saying it's not numbers, but really it is, because it's a number of lives that you've impacted, and it's profound, right? And you might not get told that all the time. I didn't even know you ran kids sports camps at all. So thank you for sharing that, because it is in the impact overall in the lives that I show kindness to, compassion, care, and help people become who they're meant to be. And I think you show up in that way for a lot of people in insane numeric ways, because it's so many lives that you're impacting. How many kids would you say went through the camp?
Over the years, we ran that camp for almost 20 years.
Okay.
And so it was a long time, and we had upwards to 250 to 300 a year.
Wow.
So a lot of kids.
So consistency over time, and all of the people that went through it
Yes.
adds up to a lot of lives impacted.
Yes.
What drew you to lacrosse as a youth? What was it that got you involved in the sport?
It's interesting. I'm a physical being, and I think that sometimes the tougher the opportunity, the more I enjoyed it. Whether it was lacrosse or rugby or any of those, hockey, those contact sports, I was attracted to that. I like the physicality of those.
Okay. And once you got involved, what was the team culture like on the one team, the Green Gales?
So that has a winning tradition. Okay. And I was just brought into an already existing winning tradition. And so I had a chance firsthand to see what winners do. And a big part of that was the coach. And he became a very strong mentor. His name is Jim Bishop. He's no longer with us, but he was just one of those unbelievably driven human beings that was so focused on doing things in a kind of perfectionist way to get it done, and systems and models that you fit into, finding your role in the system, finding your role in the team, and then accomplishing that role with a very, very strong emphasis on team. So you would never not want to let your team down in the role you played.
Fascinating. And do any of the moments from all of the experience of team culture, or specifically that one, stand out to you or impact you still today?
Yes. I mean, this is really now a sports conversation. Is, that first championship, you cannot ever not have the first championship again, because, that is the most exciting thing. But what I really would add to that is, once you win, it's not easy to win twice. It's not easy to win 3 times in a row. And what we were up to accomplishing as we did it, I was on 4 championship teams, of which, they'd won 7 in a row. And it's so hard to imagine that will ever be challenged, in particular in lacrosse, but in any sport. That is a phenomenal, Canadian level, competition. And I think I'm really proud to be part of the longevity and the sustainability that went on to put that in place.
You obviously had explosive pro lacrosse stats. So talking about how the coach led you, and the expectations that I'm sure were around that. How does that show up for you today? Or how has it shown up as you've raised a family, started your business? Has it flowed from sports into family and professional life, and how?
Yeah. So an interesting point. That first of all, when I went to play professional lacrosse, I was drafted by Philadelphia, and I had a different coach who was another a godsend. A different style, but his name was Bob Allen, and he is still alive. And he was just a really fresh kind of coach mentor for myself. And now I'm getting a little bit older, and I'm 24, 25 at this time, and I've figured out a few things, and I started to become more of what Larry Lloyd is. So I was much more intuitive as to what was going on and what I was wanting to get out of it, and the role I was wanting to play, and I'm becoming more of a leader. So I'm added to the role of whatever it would be on the lacrosse floor, scorer or whatever. I was really focused on, expanding my skills in leadership. And it was kind of my first foray in that, and I never was a captain with the Gales. And when I got to Philadelphia, they had a captain. He was an amazing guy. I hung out with him all the time. And we became, a twosome in trying to figure out what we could do to make our team the best it could be. And so the expansion of myself was coming into play not only, as a player, they're always trying to improve, but I was expanding my leadership and the influence that I was able to have at this time.
Right. Onto the team and learning from someone too that was doing it with you.
Yes.
What key tips did you pick up from co-leading, or did you absorb? Because obviously in any sports career, friends even, who you're surrounding yourself with ultimately does have an impact on you. So were there certain things he did that you adopted, or even vice versa, that ultimately impacted your leadership ability and your ability to impact others?
Yes, I'm sure there's more than one, but there's one that stands out. Okay. So I think that, the willingness to do the hard work, the willingness to show up and get your hands dirty and do the hard work, and the discipline, to stay in, what the task you were up to. And he was, it's interesting, the captain was not a scorer. And he would do everything else but put the ball in the net. And so I really got to see that his role was just as important as mine, who might be putting the ball in the net. And it was like, if there's any hard things to be done, he'd say, you'll never have to take off your gloves. I'll handle everything for you. You just keep doing what you're doing. I'll do what I do. And so inside of that, I was really starting to, get that leadership. First of all, you need followers, and for them to understand that you were willing to do anything for them. And that confidence, that feeling, that support, that bond was so strong. And it exists in a lot of sports that's played at the highest level, when the only thing that I really worried about playing lacrosse was letting down the guy next to me.
Interesting.
I would never let him down because I made a commitment, and it was not always verbal.
Yeah.
I was standing next to him. We were in the war. Never let him down, never leave him behind, and never have him feel he was alone.
I love that. So unwavering commitment.
Yes.
Nice. And that was something that you definitely had as a standout piece, that was his character, that you went, I love that about him. I want to be that back.
I'll never let them down.
And do you find that that flows through to your professional, personal life, like as a result of seeing that in such a strong way?
I don't know if it was solely that. As my character is developing and I'm seeing who I am and I'm understanding life, and I'm in a growth development stage now. I wasn't in that at that same level maybe when I was playing lacrosse, but I really was now developing myself and understanding who I was, and so it was that piece now added to the sports piece that was kind of making me more whole and complete. And understanding, how I wanted to show up, and who I wanted to become when I showed up.
So obviously in sports, you get a lot of, I don't even know the word for it. It's exciting. It's constantly something exciting to look forward to. And then you also get the validation. So in your life, what was it like being recognized as an all-star in Philadelphia? And did it validate you to keep going, or was it just an extra nice piece to have?
As I look back, I'm probably an adrenaline junkie. So yeah, and
Maybe still are.
maybe still are. And I love excitement. Like I always tell people when I'm talking about real estate to them sometimes, I know when I'm ready in a listing presentation when I got a little bead of sweat right here. When that bead of sweat shows up, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm ready. I think I'm one of these people that learn very early how to get up for the game. So I can get up for anything. You want me to go on a listing presentation? I can get up for it. I know how to get up. And so I think that what I'm really figuring out in all of this is, people are attracted to energy. And I love energy. And particularly positive energy. So, I think you're always as a adrenaline junkie, you're seeking energy. I love golfing. Hitting a white ball around a golf course and chasing it, boring. Playing against the guy next to you and having $10 on the game is a whole difference maker. There's some energy created in the goal that you've just had for the day, which is a meaningless thing because you're going to go in and enjoy their company afterwards or during the round, but it's just that energy that, I'm attracted to.
It's quite a mental game, obviously, but
Yes.
it's also a relational game.
Yes. We haven't talked about the mental game and energy, but that's a piece of it too, where you actually either visualize or make a commitment that you're going to overcome. No matter what, is put in front of you. You cannot outwork me. You cannot, figure out something that I'm not going to adapt to. I'm going to show up in the end.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
What was it that motivated you after, your big sports career to become a teacher and a youth coach?
Right. So I think that's all part of the package. A teacher is who I am. Like talk about finding a career that was really me. I'm a teacher, and I just love getting. And in this case, I was a phys ed teacher. Getting the kids in the gym, getting them excited, having them laugh, having them play, having them enjoy some game you've created for them, having them enjoy some skill that you're working through, and seeing them, the enlightenment that they get on their face when they accomplish something. It's a lot different than solving a math problem in the class.
Yeah.
And I
can
love
imagine.
that.
I can imagine. You're the fun teacher,
Right. That's who I was.
the joy bringer.
Not the real teacher.
Yeah. So what was it that led you to down that path? Like, why that?
Okay. So this is a somewhat interesting story to me. It is, I was not doing that well in school.
Okay.
And I'm in grade 12 and I missed my French, so I couldn't go on. And I pretty much had, I was thought, this education thing is overrated. So we had an unbelievably good basketball team with an amazing coach. Again, an amazing coach. And he said to me, I'd like you to come back. We got one more amazing year of basketball, and I will figure out your education program for the year, and I'm going to surprise you. I says, Mac, we used to call him Mac. I says, Mac, I don't think there's anything that get me to come back. I'm going to take on life the way it is right now. He said, no, let me set it up and get back to you. One day he came back. He says, this is what we're going to do. He says, I got a place for you to go to summer school. You'll get your grade 12 French in summer school. If you show up every day, you'll pass. And he says, you come back next year, you're going to, we were taking grade 13 at the time. He said to me, when teachers, phys ed teachers have to leave the school, he said, and we need coverage. We have to get a teacher to cover. Normally we get the high-heeled English teacher coming down covering a phys ed class. I'm going to have you teach the phys ed classes.
Wow.
So I'm in grade 13 teaching phys ed classes at the high school I go to.
Wow.
And then he said, we'll get you into teachers college. You could go to teachers college right after grade 13. And so I was teaching high school phys ed while I was in high school and enjoying it, loving it. It fit like a glove. And the high-heeled English teacher just watched me because we needed a teacher in the room.
Yeah.
And so I went to teachers college, get a job, start university right after I went to teachers college, start teaching. Dream job, dream life, living the dream.
Oh, that's great. And it sounds like similar, this teacher had a vision for you or
Yes.
saw potential in you
Right.
in somewhere that you had just kind of gone, it's not an option. So it's like a pattern.
It is a pattern. And I'm glad you brought that up because we often don't see in ourselves what others see in us. And it's there that there's gold.
Yes.
And even though he had an ulterior motive, now I could play on the basketball team one more year and we would do well. And but he cared more about me and how I would turn out. That was a real pivot point in my life. I mean, at that time, so many of my friends were just making good money, working at General Motors. I was destined to go work in GM and make good money, as that was what everybody talked about.
Yeah.
But now the trajectory was different. I was a teacher,
Yeah.
and I was changing lives. I was making okay money. And I'm now getting an opportunity to do what I really like, making okay money.
And that was more important.
I found that out very, very quickly. In kind of my own way, figuring out, how this was going to look. I mean, at that time, I thought, man, I'm a lifer. This is too good. I'm a lifer.
Yeah.
But things, kept shifting for me.
So how did teaching and coaching shift your perspective on leadership and teamwork?
Okay. I'm not going to take that one directly on. I'm going to just, I have to tell you this a little bit.
Okay.
So I think that one of the things that I felt about teaching is no matter how good I was, how bad I was, how early I showed up, how late I stayed, I was coaching a lot. I was still paid the same as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I was bothered by that a little bit as time went on.
Yep.
And I was now searching for something to kind of that would support what I thought was more value to people. So I was looking for leadership opportunities now outside of, and doing things, outside of teaching. And lacrosse was one. I was a ski instructor. I played tennis at a pretty good level. I was playing basketball now outside at a pretty good level. I was meeting people. And it was there that I was finding something different for myself, particularly in leadership. Mm-hmm. So now I'm taking that leadership back to my environment. And it felt awfully corporate.
Really?
In its own way. And I thought, it's not me.
Yeah.
I need to be more freelance. I need to be more entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't, my teams reflected my coaching, the coaching that I had in my life.
Yeah.
So I was able to recapture that with my teams. Mm-hmm. But the whole team thing with the teaching thing, not so much.
Okay. So it's funny because my next statement here I've got written down is then Larry had a bold shift into real estate.
Right.
So I didn't send you these questions, but you just knew what I was going to ask next. What sparked that pivot to teaching, from teaching to real estate? Sounds like you just answered that question.
Yes. So it's a different question.
Okay.
And so I thought, in part of my growth, I did want to make more money. Mm-hmm. So I thought I would be a real estate investor.
Okay.
And maybe the best way to be an investor was to be a real estate agent. So I go take my real estate course while I'm taking university courses, while I'm still teaching. I took the real estate course. But remember, I never lost the love for teaching. Mm-hmm. So I started doing real estate. And that journey unfolded surprisingly really quickly. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect I think it was about January that I really got my real estate license and got into a company. By the way, they weren't hiring part-time people. Lady took me in because she liked me. Mm-hmm. And that summer, those summer holidays from July, August, I made more money in real estate than I made in teaching the entire year. Mm-hmm. I was starting to think differently.
Yeah.
So it was what was happening to me at that time. It was happening fast. I was not absorbing it all, and I'm like 6 months in, and I hired my first assistant.
Wow.
I needed help.
Yeah.
Administratively, as well as when I was not available. Mm-hmm. So I needed help. And so I just, out of survival, I hired an assistant. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Yeah, the upward curve of succeeding in real estate just kept climbing. Mm-hmm. And now I'm a part-time agent and I'm the top agent in the office.
And so I guess that was the pivot.
Right. Yes. Because I mean, in year 3, I made $50,000 as a teacher and $250,000 as a real estate agent.
Yeah. Pretty incredible.
And guess
this
what?
was in what year?
I still love teaching. That was 1993.
Wow.
I still love teaching.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So you obviously became number one in your office very quickly. Was it more grit, routine, or mindset? Or combination? Oh,
I still was that same guy. You couldn't outwork me. I was determined, but I really, my learning curve was watching people and getting around people, like people that were doing it at a high level. I right away, I started all of that where I could actually, see somebody emulate it. I remember going to Tony Robbins and thinking, you want to be a millionaire? Find out what the millionaire does and do exactly what he does. It was kind of that mentality. So I all I was doing was, looking, observing, copying, emulating, and just putting it in. And then my assistant that I hired 6 months in, she was with me for 16 years.
Wow.
And, she would do everything administratively, and anything that I couldn't show up to, she would show up to. I mean, we became, quite a team. And, the story on how I started my database, by the way, which wasn't a CRM at that point, it was a Rolodex. And so, we would, she just had me go through the Oshawa phone book and pick out people I knew, and she put it on a Rolodex. And 1,100 cards later, I started my CRM.
So I'm hearing teamwork and leverage.
Yes.
And identifying probably what your unique ability is and what somebody else's is.
Yeah. So I
Can't do it all
think
yourself, right?
teamwork has been, teamwork is a natural thing because I've been on teams since I started.
Yeah.
And knew what your highly functional teams do. But, the leverage thing, I was just a school teacher. School teacher goes to school, goes to teacher's college, goes to university, gets in a classroom. It's a glass house. You're pretty protected. I wasn't seeing leverage teaching.
Yeah, I know.
I had to find it.
Yep. And you did.
And I did.
So that entrepreneurial mindset, you say things like, I showed up with intention. I was a very hard worker, or maybe diligent worker, right? If you had a full-time teaching thing on the side. You found different ways to do things. How do you define intentionality in your day-to-day work, or what does that mean for you?
That's simple. It's tied to integrity. So, I use the word self-integrity. I'm not even sure that's a word. But, when in my head, when I say something to myself, that means something to me. That's intentionality. That's where I'm going to be intentional about what I just said to myself. I didn't tell you I was going to make 20 calls today. I told myself I was going to make 20 calls today. I did it. I was not going to let myself down. You were not on my team, but I now was, I'm in real estate on my own. And so it became more of what I told myself I was going to do, I did. And I used to use the term non-negotiable, and it was non-negotiable because I told myself.
Okay.
And that's integrity. It's honoring your word.
Yeah, holding yourself accountable, or maybe not even having to, because you're just so intentional about making sure you honor your own word.
Correct.
Where do you think you learned that from? Or do you think you were just born that way?
No, I don't think you're ever just born that way. Really? I think these are all skill sets, by the way. I think these are skill sets that we learn. And, most of the great lessons in life for me, I learned in sport.
Yeah.
And, what grit gets you, what playing smart gets you. And so I really, I could take that now in my own development, into the job of that I had, with real estate. I mean, took it into teaching as well. But it was quite easy for me to make a commitment, make a goal, and not reaching the goal was not an option.
Yeah.
Whatever it took,
It's fascinating because there's a lot of people I speak with, or the podcast that I was on a while back. We identified that a lot of the entrepreneurs running these businesses actually came from a background in sports.
Yes.
So high-level athletes, people who are just determined, goal-focused, don't give up.
Competitive.
Yes, that too.
Ultra.
Yes, for sure. I think sports also develops habits and consistency over time,
Yes.
right? The repetition of something, practice makes perfect, and and then there's the team element, working as a team and learning in that team some people's strengths and weaknesses and working together to still win, which is huge. That applies to business in a big way.
Yes. It's that 10,000 hour thing.
Share.
That you
Share the 10,000 hour thing.
if you want to learn a skill at the highest level, you want to be a professional.
Yeah.
10,000 hours practice will get you there.
Yeah.
And so it's part of the commitment to that.
Yeah.
That I think that whether it is exactly 10 or whatever it is, but you're solid, you commit to that skill.
Yeah.
Because I am really convinced that most things we do in life is a skill that will get us to a habit, that will get us to a pattern, that will get us to where we want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Can you discuss or share any unexpected challenge in life that forced you to continue to show up with intention, even when things got tough? Like, just us talking here, people might watch this and be like, okay, Larry was like a pro athlete. He was number one in his business. He was this teacher everyone loved. Like, did you ever have hardships? Is there anything you've gone through that just kind of went, oh?
No, I wouldn't put it as hardships.
Okay.
To start with. So I lived a pretty charmed life coming from a family of 5 where my dad worked in General Motors, and we didn't have a lot. Mm-hmm. And there was one thing that happened in my life that had a pretty huge impact. I think I was 12 years old, 13 maybe at the most. And I was playing hockey at a pretty high level, and I'm now getting stronger, bigger, and I'm breaking hockey sticks. And my dad says to me, "You can't play hockey anymore because I can't afford this number of sticks you're breaking." I got that. That was pretty simple. I knew we didn't have a lot of extra money, and my hockey sticks, weren't in the budget. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I have to figure this out myself. There's a small grocery store on the corner. I go over there, and I said, I need a job. He says, well, we don't hire anybody to 16. I says, I'll do anything. He says, well, we sell apples out of the back of a truck. You think you could do that? I says, I can do that. Put me on the back of the truck, go door to door selling apples. And he made money, and he saw how it worked. And he says, I'm going to give you a job. And I started packing groceries, as most kids would do in a store. And I made money. I bought my own hockey sticks. I started to dress myself up a little bit because I had some extra cash because I was mostly in hand-me-down jeans at that point. Mm-hmm. And so it was a real turning point in my life that I was going to take 100% responsibility for my own life. Mm-hmm. Didn't blame my dad, didn't blame my mom. They were the circumstances. The other kids were not getting hockey sticks and breaking them. I didn't deserve anything, anything extra. And as a result of that, it was a real directional change when it comes to work ethic. Because I was a hard worker, and I was willing to give it up to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
And that guy at the grocery store, he knew I played sports, and he knew why I was working. He said, man, you got a game, come. You go to the game anytime. You come back and go to work.
I love that story. Thanks for sharing. It's something else I reflect on because I was similar. I started when I was, I think, 14 or 13, babysitting a bit and got a taste for my own freedom and capabilities. And then I started to train polo horses. And I do believe that it's important for kids to earn their own money and learn what it takes to work hard. I was recently watching Dave Ramsey actually talk about this. And, sports is one thing and putting your kids through it and being able to bless your kids and help your kids is great. But I know from personal experience, and it sounds like you do as well with your apples and your hockey stick story, it's such a powerful lesson to show that you as a 12, 13-year-old have the capability to go and make your own decisions and prove your value. It's self-worth, self-confidence building, and it gives you this determination that you can go out and do anything.
It had me wondering if that hadn't happened, what would have happened?
Yeah.
If my dad did have lots of money and my dad did buy me hockey sticks.
Yeah.
I still think, he was a hard worker. Mom was a hard worker. Why wouldn't I be a hard worker? And so maybe I would have not had the lesson so early in life.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it would have taken time, but, I kind of think.
I think seeing parents as hard workers, because I had a similar set of parents, very hardworking, willing to do what it took for our family, and didn't have the same story where I was breaking hockey sticks, but I did have things I wanted to do that they were just like, okay, you got to figure out how to get that in other ways.
Yes.
So always encouraged hard work and some discipline around your schedule. And it was a lesson, but I do feel the learning of hard work came from actually watching them work hard and having an appreciation for it. It's interesting because I reflect on that as well.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that that intrigues me in life is we have these kind of pivot points, and you started that question with trying to figure out maybe hardships that got me, and I didn't see it as a particularly huge hardship. It was just something put in front of me, and I love those stories where people find a new way of how to show up. And normally it involves, around like taking full responsibility, no blame.
Yeah.
And you just figure it out.
How did you juggle 2 different careers? So, well, 3 things really at the time, and I'm sure more on the side, which we're not capturing, but real estate, coaching, and the community commitments.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you asked that because I'm not quite sure. And I know one thing that was in jeopardy.
Okay.
And that was my marriage, or if you will, as I'm now doing all these things, and now I'm going to have a family. And I kind of had a moment in that. The second child, Brooke, we bring her home from the hospital with Lorraine, and barely got them in the house, and I had to leave and go do real estate. And I thought, man, this business is running me. And I want to run the business.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's when I started a team.
Okay.
And I read the Red Book.
What's the Red Book, just for people watching?
The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, and figured out what leverage looked like for a real estate agent at that level, and started it that day. And where I was going to change the direction of how I was going to run my life, my business, because I kind of needed a small wake up call, even though it was self-identified.
Yes.
But I needed that.
So another pivot, and it probably stems so deeply from this big why of really knowing that you're doing all these things for your family.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, you're like, whoa, wait, I'm not showing up for them.
Right. I mean, I think lots of people go through that.
100%.
And so it shows up in different ways for different people. But, you know within your heart, why you get up in the morning and you can't wait for your feet to hit the floor so you can get running.
Yeah. And sometimes while you're running so hard and fast.
Right.
You forget about why you're running.
Why you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had moments like that.
That's good to hear. I'm glad there's other people.
I think there's a lot. And I think it'll be good for people listening to this to go, okay, I'm in that right now. I'm running this marathon and I need to stop and realize why. And I think it sometimes takes a bit of a crash or a trip to
Yes.
figure that out.
Yes.
But everyone gets there. And so hearing other people who have gone through this or had great success or not, and why, and identifying the purpose of it all is so critical. So thanks for going there with that. As a coach, mentor, and real estate figure in Oshawa, how has investing in your community shaped your personal legacy?
Well, I don't think, I think my legacy is still yet to kind of unfold.
I do too.
And so I'm not quite sure. When I talk about legacy, it's like, that's something for somebody else to figure out after the fact.
Okay.
But I do know that as a big part of my big why, like I just love the idea of inspiring people to dream and find something in their life that they never felt was possible. And kind of in that self-discovery method of, just going somewhere you've never gone and doing something you've never done and accomplishing something more than you ever, thought you could. I just live in that world of hoping that just shows up in front of me for others,
Well, I can tell you that the reason I'm sitting here is because of what you thought about me. So thank you, because
You're welcome.
it's true. You can see potential for others that they might not even consider for themselves. Mm-hmm. I think when you reached out to me about this opportunity, I had just had my third child. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that Larry would have seen me in that light. So I think that when other people can help you envision or dream big and then help you surround yourself with others who are dreaming in the same direction, it can change a person's life.
Yes.
Really.
And I think those things, I don't think they're luck.
No, I don't either. What do you think it is?
I think it's fate.
Okay.
And I mean, anytime faith's involved. So faith and fate, will take you places that you never imagined.
Yeah. So divine purpose.
Yeah. So in my big why of hoping people could dream, I mean, part of that is faith and the fate of that thought that's in your head that has a chance to be put into action to bring reality to it.
Yeah. And it's deep rooted and sometimes needs someone else's. I honestly believe it's your love for other people that helps them to ignite that God-given purpose they have in their life, that they just are so busy or doing so many other things, they don't have a chance to even let it ignite. It's like a little flicker of a flame inside of you. And then someone else comes along with love and care for you. And I know that you're like that with other people so that you can help spark that flame.
Right.
It's meant to be lit up.
So, and really, it was quite some time ago. I don't know when this happened to me, but that if you bring value to other people, everything takes care of itself. Mm-hmm. And, as we often say, others don't care how much you know till we know how much you care. And in that caring is where I think the greatness happens. The unstoppable happens. Mm-hmm. It's in that caring for people, and they self-discover for themselves, that something's possible that didn't exist yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
I like that.
What keeps you motivated now? We're talking about the legacy and you're still doing it. I know you love golfing, but seriously, like what has you sitting in it, the quantum leap?
Right.
Still learning.
I mean, that thirst will not go away. I mean, it has nothing to do with, where you are, what you're doing. When you have that thirst to, I basically feel this way. I do not want to be the same person today that I was yesterday. If I cannot find a way to be different, better, move some needle, to move ahead each day, I will continue to search for that. The need to just want to figure it out and be around others that are kind of feel the same way or are inspired. No matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter. You're playing golf with people. Mm-hmm. You're around people that have lives and are doing whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's in that. It's in the people and the stories and whatever their predicament they might be in, that you get a chance to play in that arena with them for that day. So the better equipped you are, the better off it's going to turn out likely.
I agree. I would love to end with one question that will have you reflect back and hopefully give advice to someone younger watching this from a point of wisdom and the whole walk you've been on and the amazing life you've had. If you could whisper advice to your young self or someone else young, like we're talking 17-year-old that's in sports or not at this point in their life, what would you leave them with? What would you say?
Very easy. I would tell them, find people that support what you're up to. Find some way to get around them. Find some way to investigate what they're doing and how they do it and how that can apply to your life. Because I'm a big proponent of who you hang out with is the difference maker. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things that I believe so strongly in is when I have a good conversation with somebody like you today, I never want to leave that conversation where it doesn't have expandability. And that expandability would look like, me asking you a question. It's, Jamie Lee, who do you know that I need to know that you're willing to introduce me to that's going to enhance my life?
That was the next question. I usually end the podcast with it. So, Larry, if there's somebody that I could introduce you to from my world that would help you or could be a part of yours, who would it be? And it doesn't have to be answered now. You can think about it and let me know, because I know we have some calls that we do together, and I'd love to make sure that whoever that is comes and imparts their wisdom as you have with so many people today.
Yes. And that's great. And I'm glad you give me time to think about it, because I want to make it good.
Yes.
And so, but I love that you offered that challenge to me, because if we're both in that game, we know that there's two great people on the other side of this that we're going to have a chance to have a good conversation with, and we're going to be better as a result of that.
I agree 100%.
We're in it.
We are. Okay, well, thank you for being on the Real Stories podcast. I feel like we're going to need a part 2, maybe in 6 months, and see where we're at, because I have a feeling we're going to both meet some pretty awesome people and have some more amazing stories. So thank you, Larry, for sharing your story, and we'll continue to stay in touch. If anybody wants to find out more about Larry, do you have any Instagram or Facebook that they can send you a message at if they want to
Yes,
talk?
I'm on both Instagram and Facebook. Larry Lloyd, 4. That was my number, by the way, on Instagram. And you can look me up as Larry Lloyd, and Google me. You'll find me as well.
And if you want to chat with him, he's always up for a great conversation.
A great copy.
Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.